your name?
Isabel.
Hey,
Isabel what? Havana what? Okay, give me that attitude again. Now we'll come over exactly. Now go through that again.
You're not even being
Hello?
allowed to text. Which one?
What's your name? Okay, that's very nice name. Okay, how old are you? Okay. Can I just ask where you're from?
I'm from London. No, the East End.
Okay, no, your accent just changed there. Where are you from?
East End.
Okay. And what are you going to do for us today?
Dancing.
Dancing.
Punishing.
What kind of dance? Like?
You know, like...
Okay, could you just take it away, please? Could you just take it away?
No, I'm sure. Okay. Are you from Italy?
No, Isabel, it don't matter. Just go. I'm trying to text.
Take the floor, baby girl. Yeah. Mama. Yeah, baby. Mama. Oh, yeah.
Go, girl. You move those hips.
I will. Come on.
You don't make me laugh. I'm winding.
Wine is great. Susie.
Okay, I'll come
Okay, come on.
Okay, come on. It is we don't from winding or grinding or canoe or back. You have.
Wait, second, do this. I go back.